Hey folks, hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to stage my house with AI, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it with a few simple tools. So first, let me show you what we're working with here. I've got some unstaged photos of, of our house that we are looking to rent. And these are not bad. I could probably just upload these as is. But what I'd like to do is give them a bit of staging. So I'm going to come over here to Claude Code, and if you haven't heard of Claude Code, it's basically an AI agent that has access to my computer that can do all kinds of really cool stuff. So I have a folder on my desktop that just has all of these photos, and mind you, I did manually name the photos to help out. So what I want to do before I start staging these photos is make sure that I define a consistent style, because I want all the images to be cohesive. So I'll use speech to text and just start yapping about what I want. Hey, I'd like to stage these photos in this folder, and they're photos of my house. I'm looking for maybe a Scandinavian, almost like Pinterest, very minimalism, but nice. I don't know. Just don't put any weird furniture. Put like nice art and earth colors and just make it nice. But I want to work on a prompt. So take a look at some of the images, figure out what you're working with, and then take maybe a living room image. And I want to see 4 versions of it so we can narrow down on a prompt style that will work for all of the rooms. And I'm going to hit send on that. So what's happening here is Claude is deciding, okay, I'm going to look at some of these images, and that's what this means. And like I said, it did look at the living room, and so it's going to understand the space. So it said, okay, your home has some fantastic bones for this styling. I'll use living room fireplace as our test image. Let me generate 4 variations with different prompt approaches. Classic, hygge, warm textiles, cozy layers, lived-in feel, modern minimal, organic modern, and warm Scandy. So now it's using the Nano Banana Pro, which is Google's really amazing photo editor, to do this virtual staging. Now, one thing I forgot to add that I have learned from previous experience is that there needs to be an explicit instruction to not change don't change the color of the flooring, don't change the color of the paint, don't add any light fixtures. Basically only add things, don't change anything. Okay, so it looks like one of them might be done. Okay, that's pretty cool and nice. This is the version 1, so let's see. Okay, this is pretty nice. Ooh, I just noticed something. So it says auto-detected resolution 4K, editing image with resolution 4K. This is about to cost me $1 to do this, because it's going to output these images in 4K, which is actually not what I want. I want it to just make the edits and return it out. This is terrible. Oh my gosh. I want it to return out in 1K. Yeah, and when I open this, it's a big high quality image, which I want this at the end, but at this stage where I'm iterating, I don't need high quality. So actually I'm going to interrupt it. Just hold on, make sure to designate quality, or else it will cost me lots. Now I am curious if it did say resolution 1K. Oh, okay. So it's getting overridden maybe. The cool thing is that because Claude Code is so powerful, I can just say something like, let's go with version 1, but before you generate any new images, can you downscale all of the images to like make a copy of all the images downscaled to 1K so that it doesn't create more 4K images while we're iterating. Okay, so it made a staged folder, and it has a 1K source folder, and then it put all of the original photos in here, but they're much smaller. If you see dimensions 1024 by 768, whereas the original was 4000. So now we're going to try the V1 prompt on bedrooms and kitchen. That should be fine. And the good thing about doing it in 1K is that it will be way faster. Okay, so an important thing here, and this looks pretty darn good actually. So something to note here is that, like I said before, I have to add to the prompt, do not change anything, because this is in fact this is not the layout of our kitchen. So if I look, let me just show you, this is what it generated, and this is what our kitchen actually looks like. Definitely some prompt adjustment. Hey, one thing, it generated a completely different layout for our kitchen. So we need to be very explicit to not change any features, any layout, anything that is existing. We can add coloring, we can add accessories, we can add art, we can add maybe even kitchen appliances or beds or whatever, but we cannot change the layout. Okay, so again, I just love Claude because it took my instructions and you can see how it said critical, do not change the room layout. And it generated a new kitchen full image. And then it looked at what it generated. And it looked at the source image and it said, much better, the layout is preserved now. This is why AI is so powerful, because it can actually review its own work and think about what fixed it and then update the prompt template for all rooms. So now this is the original. This is what it initially generated, which is wrong. And then this is what it generated correctly. It actually almost preserved too much in this case. So I will iterate on this again. It almost preserved too much, like the lighting, the framing, etc. Yes, it's accurate, but we went from beautiful but wrong to but right. Let's meet somewhere in the middle. Claude is hilarious. Good feedback. The first was editorial magic, but wrong layout. The second was a police report, but accurate. Let's split the difference. Okay, this is perfect. Every detail is preserved, but the lighting is so much better. Because I've now settled on a good lighting and a good style, I'm just gonna say now do this for everything. Do a first pass for every single image and put it in a folder as like a new folder, and then review what they look like. And if any are egregiously bad, just redo them. And the reason that I want to do that is because this allows it to work agentically for a long time. And I'm just going to go step away and do something. So one important point is that check out this backyard. See how there's no fence right here? If we look at the staged, you just have to be careful because it has put in a fence, which does not exist. Everything else is pretty accurate, but so, you know, there's manual things. That backyard full has a fence that's not real, redo backyard. And this bedroom 2, I just go through every single one, just make sure it's bedroom 2 is actually not big enough for what it has staged it with. It's like maybe stretching it out maybe 3 feet or so. And so I can't do that, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a folder just called keep, and I just manually review everyone. But this is also making this room seem like it's bigger than it is, I believe. I don't think it's big enough to actually handle that. Now this is an inaccurate photo, but I do want it to be redone. Guest room en suite needs to be redone. Hallway to guest. This looks pretty sweet, so I'm just going to keep that. This is not real. Delete. This is pretty real, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep that. This is excellent. Love this, even though it doesn't have the dining room in there, but that's fine. Delete. This is incorrect, and there's no underlighting. This is correct. I'm gonna keep that. Also correct. I'm gonna keep that. This is just so terrible. It's actually hilarious to me. But so we're going to delete that. Also terrible. Fine. This looks about right. So I'm actually just going to use the original because I don't know, it's just why, you know? Yeah, I'll just use the original. And honestly, I don't even need to upscale these, I feel. Like this is actually fine. Okay, it's not perfect, but it will have to do for right now. All right, I think we have enough photos here. Let's take a look and keep. So we got the backyard, dining room, entryway. It's funny how like those photos don't really make a lot of sense. These are completely different like stages for the kitchen, but whatever. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. I think that will be fine. So again, it's not magic and it's not perfect and it doesn't one-shot it every time, but it's a whole lot faster than pretty much any alternative that I could do. So that's using Claude Code to stage a house with Nano Banana. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new, drop a like and comment something that you would like to see next. Any questions you have, happy to answer them. Thanks.